So there was a couple times when my two worlds collided. My stepdad and my real dad just collided. And the first time I saw it and I was like, oh, shit, was my stepdad. I've seen him just knock people out. And that's the problem with having a stepdad you don't like, too. He was a badass. And people are like, why didn't you ever whoop his ass? I couldn't. Motherfucker could fight, for real. I think in a perfect world in movies, that stepson steps up and stands up to his stepdad and handles shit. No, this motherfucker can fight. And I've seen him knock people out numerous times over nothing. I've seen him just annihilate. He had a one-hitter quitter like no other, but he used to box when he was younger, and he used to street fight when he was younger. Like when he was a teenager, my stepdad would go to downtown Cincinnati and get in street fights, paid street fights. If you ever seen the movie Hard Times with Charles Bronson, he was doing that type of shit. If you haven't seen that movie, please go see it. It's like from the 70s, but man, such a good film. Anyways, I digress. So one time my grandpa Owen, this before cell phones. So I guess in the phone book, I'm a junior. So he had Gary, my dad's phone number, and then he had my phone number underneath it. He called my phone number, which was my mom and stepdad's phone number in the trailer, and he thought he was calling my dad. So my stepdad answered the phone, and my grandpa was like, is Gary there? And my stepdad was like, it's a little late to be asking for Gary, isn't it? And my grandpa was like, what? And then they got into it. Like, motherfucker, put my son on the phone. Motherfucker, who you talking to? And it's going back and forth. Complete miscommunication. My grandpa thinks he's calling my dad. My stepdad thinks he's talking to my real dad. So all this, because my stepdad's like, who is this? This is dad. Put him on the phone. So there's huge miscommunication. Next day, I'm sitting there. My stepdad was like, hey, man, next time Owen calls, you got to let me know. Let me know. He never called my dad Gary. He called him Owen. And by his last name for whatever reason. So it took about 3 weeks, which was normal for my dad. He calls, like, hey, can I come get you? It was a Sunday. Always pick me up on a Sunday afternoon. And I was like, yeah. You think it would have died down by now? Nah. My stepdad was waiting. My stepdad was like, all right. My stepdad is like right here. I'm on the phone with my dad. He's right here on the phone making sure I don't tip my dad off. Because he's planning on jumping him when he gets to the trailer. Is this the most trailer park shit you could hear about? So I'm on the phone. Yeah, Dad, yeah. And I'm trying to like give him hints. Like he goes, can I come get you today? I was like, I guess. Because I don't want to see my dad get his ass whooped. And then my stepdad's right there. Like, you better not say shit. Better not say shit. My dad says, all right, I'll be there at noon. And this is probably 9 a.m. My stepdad, only thing I remember all day till my dad pulled up, he was smoking cigarettes. I never realized I grew up in a trailer where cigarette smoke was in the trailer. That's crazy too. I should probably be 6'6". I got stunt growth. I remember doing dishes and washing out the ashtrays and all the soot and ash that was in those ashtrays you could kill somebody with in the movies, that big glass ones. So my stepdad smoking cigarettes. He's walking around. He's shadow boxing. He's talking to himself. I was like, what is going on right now? And then I see my dad's Toyota pickup truck coming down the road in the trailer. And I looked at my stepdad. I go, he's coming. He goes, go to your room. I go to my mom's room because if I went to my room, I could see what's about to happen. I didn't want to see this. I go back to my mom's room. I'm sitting back in her room with my mom, and I heard my stepdad barrel out the front door. Motherfucker, who are you talking to? Who you going to? And when my stepdad got mad, he talked like a brother. I swear to God, who the fuck you talking to? Let's get down. That's what he used to say. Hand would go like this, and his finger would go, let's get down. And I could hear my dad like responding, but I never heard like a scuffle. It's like, what is going on? Then my stepdad walks back in about 5 minutes later. He's laughing. He goes, all right, you can go out now. And I go, I think I'm going out there to chaos. I think my dad's going to be knocked out. I think something, I don't know. I go out there. My dad is still in his truck, and he never gets out. And I get in, and he pulls out like a bat out of hell out of the trailer park. And I can hear him talking. He goes, man, what the fuck was that? He's not talking to me. He's talking to himself. he's just driving, looking straight ahead, goes, what the fuck was that? Motherfucker, what the fuck was that? And he kept saying, God damn, he was trying to fight me. He was trying to fight me. And then that's when I guess the story I got from my dad and my stepdad was pretty much the same story. When Rod came barreling out, my dad never got out of his truck to pick me up. He always just pulled up and I came out the front door and got in his truck. I guess when he saw Rod bolting, Rod's my stepdad's name, Rod bolting out of the trailer, he locked his door. He was like, boop. His door, and I guess he cracked his window and was yelling out the crack, that was my dad. That was my dad. That wasn't me. I was like, so the whole day I got to hear about this story, right, from my dad. And then when I got back that night, I had to hear from Rod. I had to hear his side of the story. And it was the same story. Rod came barreling out. My dad never got out of the truck, cracked his window and said, that was my dad. That wasn't me. My dad thought he was calling me. So they didn't get in a fight. They actually, the one time they probably had a laugh together, but my dad kind of showed he didn't want no part of Rod. So that happened. So I think that what looking back on as a kid, I'm like, if I'm a dad and my son's in a trailer and I see this crazy man run out of a trailer to beat my ass over a phone call that he held on to for 3 weeks. He never tried to call back and like reasonable men and trying to figure out what happened, what went on. I just remember my dad driving me back home that night to the trailer and dropped me off. All right, Gary, later. Didn't see him for another month. I'm like, you just saw this crazy man come out and you brought me home. And I remember I brought this story up to my dad years ago. And we were talking, and he brought it up. He brought the story up. He said, man, I remember that time Rod came barreling out. That was a crazy man. And my dad he used to always say, man, if I'd known you was going through all that abuse, man, I would have taken you in. I go, no, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have. You were just a different person back then. And I asked to go live with my dad at one point in high school, and he said no. So I was like, my thing is, when my dad brought it up one time, we were talking. I said, Dad, can I ask you something? I said, I know you're a different person now. I was like, you think if that would happen to my sisters, because I got twin sisters on his side, I said, I don't think you would have brought him back that night. I said, don't. I just think you never looked at me like that, and you weren't ready to be a full-time dad. And it's okay. I'm not tripping anymore. But I remember my dad goes, I said, what? I said, why did you take me home that night? Like, what was going through your head? I just want to know what his psyche was. And I remember he was driving his car, and he started moving. Well, I mean, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback 30 years later. And I'm going, nobody trying to be Monday morning quarterback. I'm just asking. That's all I'm doing. I said, it doesn't change how I feel. We were cool at that point. I'm just asking a question. I want to know. And what were you thinking? Or maybe you wasn't thinking or anything. But, that he made some weird excuse. It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback.